Welcome to another video on South Coast Power Boating. On this boating trip we will be going from Newhaven, which is my home port, and our destination is Portsmouth, ending up in the Port Solent Marina, where we will be spending the night. Then the next morning we will be heading back along the same track. Leaving the pontoon, the weather forecast is just perfect for the next couple of days, making it great for a weekend cruise of this length. This time I will be accompanied by my wife Beth. The trip should take us about 3.5 hours if we go direct, but this does not account for rest stops or sightseeing, so on this time it should take us about 4 hours, I'm anticipating. On this cruise we will be heading west, going past Brighton, Worthing, Chelsea, then turning towards Portsmouth, then finally heading up the Port Solent, ending up in the Port Solent Marina, where we will be spending the night. Beth is now on the phone checking in with our safety contact on land to let them know that we are now casting off and a rough estimated time of arrival in Portsmouth. The weather was just simply lovely, with no clouds in the sky for pretty much the whole trip. Along the way our safe havens will be Brighton, Shoreham, Littlehampton, Southsea and Gosport, should we need it.
Understand and forgive, one gave hand, others believe and achieve. Know your justification, trust is also my position. Plus there's not enough production, aroused to enjoy the sun without fun. I can't choose, it's too hard when mine's a bit. Vida should be the sky, it's got started, I can say ya. I can't choose, it's too hard to satisfy. Bobby, kiss the dolly, got you like a liar. I can't choose, it's too hard when mine's a bit.
After a while we come across another motorboat on the same course as us, heading towards the Chelsea and the Isles of Wight area. It was a nice sight, as at this point we lost sight of land and it was almost like we were cruising in company, as we overtook them and they overtook us. We had sight of each other for about 2 hours before we turned towards the Port Solent and they carried on.
Okay, let's talk later. All I do lately is pay.
On this trip our average speed was about 20 knots, as this makes good headway and returns great fuel economy for our boat.
My bros are talking with me, good exposure. I can't choose, it's too hard when mine's a bit.
We came across a couple of sailboats also on the same course as us. It's always reassuring to know you're on the right course and that you're not alone out here. The first sight of land after cutting across the bay is Chelsea, and then straight away as we change course towards Portsmouth I can see many boats of all shapes and sizes. It really is the pinnacle of boating in southern England, or dare I say it, the UK.
Don't you be nice, always put wine in the wrong glass. My ass, I won't repeat it twice. Dice and frozen ice. Making my life a pain. Baby, can't you stop to complain? Too bad I'm not your dad, although you should be glad and not sad.
I've just stopped so I can study the charts one last time before I really get into the busy channel, so I have it all clear in my head before I get nearer. I do have it all in my chart plotter, but it's always good to double check when entering unfamiliar waters.
I can't choose.
On another issue for us men, do bear in mind that when wearing a life jacket without a top on in the sun, it does mean that when you take it off it looks like you've been wearing a bra with all the strap marks, as I found out to my annoyance on this trip.
Like a liar.
Slowing down now just to be courteous for the other boaters entering the harbour, but you don't really need to slow up until you get past the main wall there, which you can see on the left. One main point to be aware of when entering the Port Solent is you need to keep to the left hand side. The central channel and the right hand side is for commercial shipping and the Navy. And there are signs clearly marked out which you can't get within, I think it was it was either 50 or 100 metres of any naval vessel. As we continued up, it was a little bit difficult to see the next channel we needed to take to starboard that would take us up to the Port Solent Marina. Like any shipping lane, this should be crossed at a right angle only. Once we found it, we followed it all the way up to the end, but it was a winding route. You would not want to divert off this marked route, as when the tide goes out, the whole area pretty much dries out to mud apart from this channel. Once we had reached the end of the marked channel, it was a little unclear as to where the marina was. Once we had stopped, I could just make out the red lights on the lock entrance, but other than that, I could not see anything else that would indicate where the marina was. At night time, I would envisage that it would be very difficult to see indeed.
Please, can we just stay? You're addicted to 8-day. Made it cause I don't do it this way. Finally got me to be perfectly touristy. $1,000 biggie. This is a souvenir from the...
Once you actually come around the final corner, you can clearly make out the lock entrance. When I actually arrived, the traffic was coming out, so I had to moor up on the waiting pontoon for a little while, waiting for it to turn around. But again, as you can see, there isn't any big sign welcoming you to Port Solent Marina, so at night time this would be very difficult to make out. Once I'd been given clearance on the radio, I entered the lock, ready to enter Port Solent Marina, where we will be stopping the night. When you're inside the lock, it's nice to see the signs, but they really should be on the outside because it would make spotting the lock from the outside so much easier. I don't know why, it was such a beautiful day, but we were the only boats entering the lock at this time. It does get a bit rough inside a lock, so do make sure that your boat is well tied off. And here we are. Welcome to Port Solent Marina. Once we'd untied, we made our way to our berth, which was given to us by the harbour master. Finding our berth was quite easy because, as ever with Premier Marinas, they're always clearly laid out. So we found our berth nice and easy. And there we are, all moored up. We will stay now until tomorrow morning, when we'll make our way back towards Newhaven. We both found Port Solent to be an excellent place for the night. It's got every amenity. The shower block and toilets were absolutely immaculate, and it was almost like staying in a 5-star hotel. And I can't recommend Chiquitos enough either. Excellent food. We just come back from having a nice shower, we're just taking off the cover, and now we're heading towards the fuel pontoon, ready to fill up to make sure that we've got plenty of fuel for the trip home. I have got enough fuel on board still to actually make the trip home, but you never know, it's always best to have plenty of fuel. So all fueled up, the lock is opening to let outward traffic, and I've just been radioed that I can come in after that yacht's going in there now. So I'm going to follow it in a minute. As I'm a relatively small boat to this marina, I'm actually going to go down the middle. That's what I've been instructed to do. It's always a bit hair-raising going down the middle because you don't obviously want to damage anyone else's boat, so you have to do it very slowly, very accurately, and make sure you've got all your fenders out on both sides, and you've got your lines ready to throw to the people on the other boat. I always tend to ask the other boat, is it okay to come alongside them, even though I've been instructed. It's just out of courtesy. So we're all having to hold fire while the passenger ferry goes across. They do have the right of way, so do always keep a lookout for them. Well, I think they got the right of way anyway. Everyone else stopped, so I stopped with them.
Don't do it this way. Finally got me to be perfectly touristy. $1,000 biggie. This is a souvenir.
There we go, saying goodbye to the Spinnaker Tower. Again, the sea conditions are absolutely perfect. We couldn't have asked for a better boating weekend. Everyone must have seen my waypoints when I was asleep, because everyone seems to be on the same course as me. But it's always nice to be cruising in company. As you can see, the sea state was just beautiful. The water was gleaming, it was crystal, and it was, I must say, one of the best boating weekends I've had in a long while. Just about now to make my final run into Newhaven, which is roughly about 10 minutes away now. I would recommend this trip to anyone. It took us about 3.5 hours, and as long as you keep the pace up, it's easily doable. And here we are back in Newhaven. We're just waiting now for the tractor to bring our trailer along and haul out the boat. Many thanks for watching.